Hello again, everybody. Here's a little interesting build I came up with while drinking again. Um, I wanted to try out an idea, and I was feeling inspired because I have my boathouse built into this base on my PvE server I've been playing with. So I wanted to make a lighthouse, so I made a lighthouse here. Um, a sort of basic lighthouse again. It's maybe 7 or 8 stories underwater, goes about, I don't know, whatever that is, 10 stories above water. And I put lights up in it, but I wanted to do something a little different and make the lights turn on and off. So I built some circuitry to make the lights blink on and off. And since this isn't the build server, I can't fly over there, so I'm going to have to put this together in post. So um, I'll go record a clip of how it works, and then I'll get some clips of it at night so I can show you what it looks like. And then I'll slap it all together and upload it. So here we go. Alright, so I'm going to try and do a quick talk through of the inside of this mess. Um, so, as you can see, the lights are cycling on about every, I think it's 5 seconds I was set to, or maybe it's 3 seconds. The alternating of the lights going on and off is done by the two timers that you see on the right and the left here. And the timer on the right actually turns the lights off. That's how the circuit starts. And then when the lights turn on, it's triggering the other timer to go. And this was trickier. You may have seen me build an alternating timer before, and you can actually do this with just a couple of components if you want to alternate, but you have to start it by hand. And then you can have one timer trigger the other one, and they go back and forth. The reason why there's a number more components in this one than previously is because I wanted the back and forth timer to start automatically, which meant having two inputs on this first timer, one that was powered by the source of the electricity starting up coming in. So this right here is where the main power comes in. It's actually on a day-night trigger, so these only happen at nighttime. Sun's not quite up enough to turn it off yet, so that's why it's still running. So main power comes in. I take off a little bit of it here to go through a memory cell to hit an OR switch to start the first timer. And the memory cell is there because otherwise this would continually just keep triggering the first timer on over and over and over and again continuously, which means the lights would basically flick on and then go back off again. So the memory cell stops that transaction from repeating instantly. It basically makes this input work once and then never again. Then after that, it's always the other timer that's triggering the first timer. The branches across the bottom are there just as power supplies. You could use a splitter instead, but I have very limited power in the space to do this. So this is a little more efficient. And then the blocker, of course, goes up to the lights itself. So the first timer, when it's on, hits the blocker to turn off the lights, and it goes to this XOR switch, which is, well, you can see as soon as that timer turns off, the second XOR input turns off, which causes the second timer to start. It's the negative output here. So when the timer's on, it's stopping the first timer from starting, and then when the first timer's off, then the lights are on and the second timer is triggered. It's also using an XOR for a negative output, so when it's on, it's not sending anything, and then as soon as the timer expires, it sends a trigger back to the first timer to start again. And this OR switch is here because, of course, that second timer has to share this toggle input with my memory cell, which is what starts this whole chain reaction to begin with. So I'm not going to do much more explanation on this. It's kind of a complicated way of doing this. It's probably an easier way to do this with a couple other memory cells in between here instead of doing all the XORs. But it works. And it's fairly power efficient. a couple more memory cells would need one power unit for each of the inputs on all of them to sort of toggle on and off the logic gates. So I don't know that you save a whole lot of power. This whole rig here uses, what is it? 18 units plus technically the 2 that have to come off for this. So it's 20 units of power basically to make the timing, the on-off timing mechanism work. Since I only have 100 coming in, that means I only have 80 left for the lights on the roof. But that's still a lot of lights. I think I have 35-ish lights up here. I forget. It's basically 4 in every one of these blocks, with a couple extra taken out of the middle because I didn't have enough power for them. So this is I'll call this my basic version. This is my basic version of a lighthouse. I have a lot of good ideas on how to make a much more advanced version of the lighthouse, but I wanted to show this off before I tore it down because this thing takes a ridiculous amount of stone for upkeep on this server. So I'm going to tear it down so I can save that stone for something else. It's like 50k stone a day because this tower is, I don't know how tall it is, honestly. And since you're watching, I'll tell you. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 stories above the water, and it's, I think 8 below. So it's about, maybe it's 7 below. It's 20 or 21 stories tall to get up that high. So fun, right? But that's how you make a on-off blinking lighthouse. It is kind of cool looking at night. Can't do this on my build server because there's no nighttime. But yeah, I'm sure you could think of a lot of other ways to use an on-off timer mechanism like that. I know some people have asked for something like that. So I don't know if I can make it back up to the top of my tower here, which I can't because I suck. I'll just give you one more view of it for the end of this video. And again, this isn't the only way to do this, but this is the way I figured out how to do it. So take it all in there. I've tried to position the wires where they are, like on the memory cell. It's the inverse output that goes to the OR switch there. So maybe take a screen capture and do your thing. Enjoy.